I am honored to serve as tonight's Mistress of Ceremonies as we celebrate this milestone occasion for my dear friend, Senator Ben Allen. I promise to keep everything on schedule, but I am going to tell a quick story. In the first 2 weeks of us being sworn in, I was at breakfast, and I got a call saying, "They're cutting down trees in the district you've got to run over." So with my hair on the side of my head, I ran over to the Oxford Triangle, where they were, in fact, cutting down trees, and I met community activists and sheriffs and the like, and I called Ben. I said, "Ben, they're cutting down these trees." He said, "If this community is being taken advantage," few expletives, to be honest, sorry, Mom, "I will not stand for it." So I learned two things that day. One, I should always do my hair, even if I'm just going to breakfast with my family. And two, that Ben is not just a friend, but he's going to stand with this community no matter what it is, no matter when it is. And that was a great thing to see just 2 weeks in. So thank you, Senator Ben Allen, for being my friend, but also being an ally. I do really appreciate it. So that being said, I'd like to thank the Boy Scout Troop 2, based at Lincoln Middle School in Santa Monica, for the wonderful flag ceremony. Let's give them a round of applause. And leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. In its 68-year history, Troop 2 has graduated 318 Eagle Scouts and can now say with great pride that one of their former scouts is now a Senator, Ben Allen. I'd like to also recognize Santa Monica High School Jazz Band for welcoming us through the doors tonight. So like I said, I promised to keep this on schedule, so let's get this started. For over 15 years, Rabbi Renner has played guitar and bass in a range of musical groups in styles including rock, funk, blues, hip-hop, jazz, and folk. Okay. A perfect fit for Senator Ben Allen's 26th Senate District, which is home to more creative individuals than possibly anywhere else in the world. In 2014, Rabbi Renner headed west from Pennsylvania to Los Angeles with his wife, Kimmy, and has brought his love of music and faith to the congregates of Kehillat Israel in Pacific Palisades. We welcome Rabbi Renner to the stage for this evening's invocation. Please, Rabbi Renner.
Good evening and welcome. I'm honored to be here tonight on behalf of Congregation Kehillat Israel. And as your rabbi, Senator Ben Allen, I couldn't be more proud to offer these words from Jack Reimer. Words I find particularly powerful this holiday weekend when we honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We cannot merely pray to God to end war, for the world was made in such a way that we must find our own path of peace within ourselves and with our neighbor. We cannot merely pray to God to root out prejudice, for we already have eyes with which to see the good in all people, if we would only use them rightly. We cannot merely pray to God to end starvation, for we already have the resources with which to feed the world, if we could only use them wisely. We cannot merely pray to God to end despair, for we already have the power to clear away slums and to give hope, if we could only use our power justly. We cannot merely pray to God to end disease, for we already have great minds with which to search out our cures and healings if we would only use them constructively. Therefore, we pray instead for strength, determination, and willpower to do instead of merely to pray, to become instead of merely to wish, that our world may be safe and that our lives may be blessed. To expand upon these words, I offer blessing to our community this evening as we join in celebration. It is my own prayer that you, Senator Allen, will be blessed with courage, determination, patience, and wisdom as you set out to engage in the holy work of public service. Amen.
Good evening. It is a joy and an honor to be here at Senator Ben Allen's community swearing-in ceremony. And I've had a chance to get to know Ben very well, especially this past year. We went to so many debates together that towards the end of the year I could deliver his speeches. But I also had a chance to see Ben Allen when he was in a stressful, pressurized situation, not just when times were good, but when times were not so good. And he behaved and acted exactly as you would want an elected official to act, with class and grace and poise. And as some of you may know, even though he was attacked negatively in his campaign, he always chose to run a relentlessly positive one. And I think that's one reason he is now our state senator. And I am thrilled that he is already making his mark in the state Senate. He was recently appointed to chair the Joint Arts Committee. It's a committee I previously chaired. And Senator Allen understands the importance of arts and entertainment, not just to his district, to all of Southern California, that royalties are one of California's largest exports, and that this is an area where California has a competitive advantage. And I'm also thrilled that he is now chairing the California State Senate Elections and Constitutional Amendments Committee. And we both share the same view that the Supreme Court's decision in Citizens United was profoundly stupid and has It's a decision that has radically altered our democracy and given a megaphone to the ultra-rich and powerful, and then really lessen the voices of all of us. And together we're going to work to do what we can to fight back against that decision. But more so than any particular issue, I think you ought to understand that the person you're electing in a representative democracy makes a huge amount of decisions for you. You, the voters, have given Ben Allen an enormous amount of discretion, and every 2 years, because we operate in 2-year legislative cycles, Senator Allen will vote over 5,000 times. And so it's useful to maybe run through some of the qualities you would want in your elected official. One of them would be you want someone that is smart. And it's more than just knowing whether or not you can see Russia from Alaska. It's also understanding the core elements of every issue, assessing the facts. He's going to be inundated with mounds of information and be able to analyze all the facts and then render a decision that's good for you, good for the district, and good for California. And Ben can do that, and we know he's smart because he graduated from a school commonly known as the Stanford of the East, that most people call as Harvard. And we also know that, well, friends here, if you ever just sat down with Ben Allen for 10 minutes, you understand that he is a brilliant person. And so he's going to do a phenomenal job as your state senator. Another quality you would want is that the person works well with others. And for our government to function, because voters don't look at government in segments, your whole government should work for you. You need city, county, federal, and state officials to all work together. And all the elected officials here from all the levels of government is a testament to our confidence and Ben Allen's ability to bring us together and to achieve goals and make success happen. And thank you. And then finally, you want someone with experience. And like me, Senator Allen is a recovering lawyer. But he had experience in the private sector as an attorney, and he also had public sector experience as president of the school board. He understands the issues, especially in local government, in education, and in a range of different issues that affect all of us. So Ben Allen is the perfect embodiment of what you would want in your state senator, and it is my honor to call him not just my friend, but our state senator. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. First of all, let me say thank you to Autumn Burke, who is this shining star already for all of us, and somebody who has not only taken her family's legacy, but is building her own. And I want to thank her for the close support of our state senator and also for what she is doing for our city. For Ted Lieu, who is also a dear friend and somebody I'm so proud of, a fellow veteran, somebody who has already shown his mettle and his heart to this city, and I want to thank him for what he is doing. So we're going from the national level now down to the local level, and thank you to City of Santa Monica for giving me a hall pass tonight and allowing me to be here. It's like mayor's gone wild. I can do anything in this city, I guess. These are exciting times, Ben, that we live in. Unemployment is down. We're coming out of a recession. Graduation rates are up in our schools. We see amazing design and leadership coming out of this town. More visitors came to Los Angeles than we've ever seen last year. We've got amazing tech companies like Snapchat just down the road and others that are leading the new economy out of Los Angeles. But then on the other hand, we see what's going on in the world. We see Paris and images of horror. We see global warming around us, veterans that are on our freeway off-ramps, students who are still wondering whether they should drop out when the school day starts on Tuesday. And for all of us, we need somebody who understands the interconnectedness of these things. The reason I think Ben Allen is going to be not just a great senator, but a great leader, is he understands that. I feel a very kindred spirit with you. This is somebody who's worked in international human rights, somebody who's worked at the grassroots level on education, understanding that what he was doing locally is linked to environmental work globally. Somebody who has always been a connector of places, and in this, the 26th district, which has some of the most prosperous parts of this country and world, and some of the neediest. We need a bridge builder, and that is Ben Allen. Somebody who will connect us with the potential of what is great and what still remains and the challenges that we have. He has been somebody who we have seen. He's not arriving to this game new. Fiscally prudent, ethically bold, somebody who has been innovative as an infrastructure investor. And I know that the work that we will do together to forward the agenda of so many people in this room, to relieve traffic on the west side of Los Angeles with Mike Bonin, myself, and the MTA, we're going to count on your leadership in the state. My parents live in your district, and they're calling me all the time about traffic, and I'm going to refer them to their state senator and say, you know, there's solutions coming out of Sacramento as well. This is somebody whose mind is sharp, whose soul is broad. Anywhere, this isn't just, you know, a swearing in, it's also a community concert. 4 different musical acts are going to be on here tonight, and as was noted in my introduction, I am a pianist, and I'm a little offended that you didn't ask me to play something as the 5th act, but it says something about Ben Allen and who he is, because he celebrates life, a smile that's infectious, a brain that will move this state forward, and I couldn't be prouder to work on those issues together and the friendship that is blossoming between us and for this city. So my last thing is a piece of advice for you. Be brave, be bold, be you. And if you do those, this state and this country and this district will be incredibly well served. Congratulations. Thank you all so much.
Well, good evening. I am so delighted to be with you. January 17th, 2015. We are gathered today, so California is dreaming on such a winter's day because Ben Allen is our state senator. Actually, Ben, I am 2 blocks out of your district. I have the wonderful Izzy Hall as my state senator. But I will call upon both of you. Lieu, our congressman, has departed, but in the depth of our financial crisis, I was in this very auditorium speaking on the first day of school to the administrators, to the board members, to the teachers, and some of the students a couple years after our deepest days in the recession. And California and Sacramento had failed in regards to adequately addressing so many of the difficult issues. They were trying our very best, but we had rapid and massive economic deterioration. And we owed education over $20 billion. Ben was an incredible steward and leader of this district. We understand, as made positive commentary by our incredible mayor, Eric Garcetti, that we've had a very robust rebound. But we still have extraordinary challenges. And so why I am very excited about Ben's leadership is he brings, as stated by others, extraordinary positive, personal, and professional qualities. Everybody talks about his high intelligence, but what I really particularly enjoy about leaders is people who are serious about public policy making. We have stellar leaders who have done so. Yaroslavsky is a pillar and that type of model. Yvonne Brathwaite Burke has also been an incredible institution for Los Angeles County. Ben, you're next in that line. You represent a phenomenal area where people are highly educated, they're positive, they're progressive, they understand what's the very best that California has to offer. And they chose you to provide that leadership. And I know you're going to perform not only at the level that they expect, but you're going to far exceed those expectations. We do have great challenges. We have to make sure that as we go forward that we provide the very best education to every single child. Our focus has to be in investing to make sure every child lives everything that they can dream of for themselves and for their families here in California. And we will have those educational challenges in a few years. People made difficult decisions in regards to retiree health care, in regards to pensions. People took bold action to fix the state's budget, but we will have tension in 2 to 3 years. And Ben will be at the forefront making sure that we don't suffer again as we did in 2008, 2009, where this state almost had a fiscal collapse. Secondly, this area is one that demonstrates how we can make remarkable progress in regards to building clean, healthy communities. I've left the State Lands Commission from moving to controller as treasurer. Zev led a pioneering effort a couple decades ago to make sure that we didn't turn this into the oil haven of Southern California. We had those issues when I was at the State Lands Commission. Fortunately, we voted to make sure that we don't have LNG facilities here in Santa Monica and Malibu. Fran Pavley's been a powerful leader, an incredible voice for all that work, but now that also rests upon your shoulders. But I couldn't trust anybody more so in Sacramento to make sure those efforts do not succeed. And so our promise is here. Our expectations are great, but you have, as it's been stated, the incredible intelligence, the compassion, the thoughtfulness to make a world of difference, and we know that you will achieve those. So congratulations. I am so honored to be a part of this.
Absolute pleasure for me to be here, and it's been an honor and a privilege to have been able to represent the city of Santa Monica and the West Side for the last 10 to 12 years. So how do we feel about redistricting? Never mind, that's not the speech for tonight. They told me to stall, but that may not be the speech you want to hear, because the good news is that we're leaving the West Side in very good hands, are we not? With Ben Allen. Now, I think most of you have known that a Senate district's a little bit bigger than a city council seat or even an assembly seat, 931,000 people. So Ben has not just the West Side to be concerned about, but he's equally concerned. I want to rest assured, all of you from the South Bay and Palos Verdes area, that he will be equally concerned about you too. And that's one of the challenges in these large Senate districts. It is the largest configuration other than a county supervisor for LA County that you can have. And I admired Ben, the way he ran this race, and I was proud to be an early supporter. And Zev Yaroslavsky and I think, conspired together, and we wanted to make sure that in many ways we're passing the torch to a younger generation that are bright and engaged and in it for all the right reasons. But when Ben was running, one thing I wanted to let you know about that I thought was important, because my background is I was a mayor and council member in Agoura Hills for 4 terms. He took the time and effort, and not all candidates do, to meet with almost every local elected official. And in this Senate district, I lost track of the cities, Ben, but it's something like 12 cities, 16 incorporated cities. That's a lot of people to meet with. But if you want to understand what's going on in your school boards and your city councils and get a clue on the fabric and the concerns and the priorities for a community, you need to take the time to do that. Ben did that. I would get regular reports from him about how many he's met, who he's met, and how many of you are here tonight are school board people or city council people in those cities, past or present? Anyone here tonight can applaud or anything like that? So that's good. That's a good thing. So I thought that was very important. And I also was, of course, jealous and admired Ben because, as everyone mentioned, he's incredibly bright and intelligent. And Harvard, Bolk Law, Cambridge, fluent in Spanish. And I thought, okay, I'm a former middle school teacher. This will be an interesting transition and ability to communicate. We hit it off immediately. I've known Ben. A lot of people know, how come you're supporting him? Well, I've known Ben because I represented Santa Monica. I've known him probably since around 2000, 2001. He was just a kid as a Board of Regents going to Bolk Law School, but always engaged and interested, and so I met him out on my own campaign trail several times over the years. Well, Ben got sworn in. I want to tell you I was there. It was December 1st. He's officially sworn in. We can't just call him Ben anymore. It's officially Senator Ben Allen. And one of the things I look for is now that he's there, what will be his priorities? What does he care about? Will, your priorities in a campaign, will it change because you get up there and we're a little bit away from home up there in Sacramento, 4 days a week, or recently 5 days a week. But I looked at the committees he selected. I think that's very important because it shows me that he values this district and your priorities. He's on the Transportation Committee. If you represent this district, you should be on that Transportation Committee, should you not? As a former school board president and member of the Santa Monica Malibu School Board, he's in a very important committee, the Budget Subcommittee on Education, not only K-12, but higher ed, and I think that's why there's some community college and some UCLA officials here. They know that he's on that Budget Subcommittee. Of course, Ben taught at UCLA as well. But that's critically important, absolutely important. About 50% of all the money the state gets in their general fund goes to education. So he will be in the thick of those. That's going to be very time consuming. He also chairs the Elections Committee, very important on that, making sure it's consumer friendly and protects the rights that all ballots will be counted. He will be on the Budget Committee because he's on the Budget Subcommittee. I am thrilled, as chair of the Natural Resources and Water Committee, that he'll be a member of my committee. So he'll become an expert quickly on water and water politics in California, and there's nothing more interesting, exciting, and more politically tough than talking about water supply, water quality, water importing, all those issues. And water, as you may or may not know, if you are an overlying property owner in a groundwater basin, it is a property right under constitutional law. Very, very political, very tough issue, and I'm glad Ben is there. And he should be in office. I'm counting on this, Ben, for the 12 years because we need that institutional memory and that focus on these key particular issues. And I know you're on one other committee, and I think this is also critically important to your district. And he's on the Joint Legislative Committee on the Arts. The arts and entertainment, whether it's in the schools or in your professional life, is probably one of the top economic engines for this region. Your particular district, then, whether it's the South Bay or the West Side, or even coming up the coast a little into my neck of the woods, is critically important. And I know we'll be working closely with people in those businesses to make sure that it's a vibrant industry for the future. So I am looking forward to working with you, but I have to share with you, I warned Ben I was going to make this a roast. First of all, I was the only female speaker tonight, so other than Autumn, who's doing a great job as MC. But one thing, now he is smart, right? We all know that, correct? So Ben Allen, as his first time to vote in the state Senate. Here it comes, Ben. So I'm enjoying watching all this, the new, I'm in year 12, so I'm the senior, I'm the aunt or the den mother, as they like to call me up there now. So he's getting ready to vote on something, but no one tells the new people what is the custom and practice in how you vote? I mean, he brings with his school board experience. And so they called the name, they call it alphabetically, and Ben's always going to be first to vote in the state Senate. He's not following anyone's lead. There's nothing on, you make up your own minds. There's really nothing on your laptop that's going to help you make any decision at all on this. So he has to vote first, but no one bothered to tell him, you don't use your microphone. You can't even turn on your microphone. They only can turn it on by the dais. You vote orally, and then a light will flash by your name on yes, perhaps if you're in the Assembly, but in the Senate, it's just a voice vote. So he spent probably 2 or 3 very awkward minutes trying to turn on his microphone, shake it. Finally, we hear aye. And it was a procedural kind of vote, but I thought, you know, that brings to mind, because of the initiative a few years ago that we voted on, that it's 12 years in either house, we are finding people aren't running for necessarily for the Assembly first and then transferring over to the Senate. They're more likely or not to stay 12 years in the House they're elected to. That may be a better situation as far as having 12 years of people not worrying about running for one office to the next, from one house to the next. And so we have a lot of what I call the new kids up in the state Senate who this is their first experience. So I look forward, Ben, to working with you. Any advice I can give, please don't hesitate to ask, but I know you're going to do a fantastic job, and I'm so pleased to be one of those people to support you early, and I'm convinced we did the right thing in passing the torch to this next generation. But I am going to pass a bill pretty soon that says anyone younger than my own children probably maybe shouldn't be in office, but I'm getting over it. I'm good. And I think it was the absolute right decision. I can't think of anyone better to represent the South Bay and West LA. Thank you very much.
Ben, Senator, as I think we will now call you, congratulations. I couldn't be happier, really. I can't think of any candidate who I ever endorsed who won, for whom I have a higher regard than I have for you. Ben came to work for me as a college student, interned in my office in the late 90s, and I threw him in with the alligators. That was at a time when the county was going almost broke. The health department and its revenue situation was horrible, and I asked Ben to go to work with my health deputy to try and figure this mess out. Well, Ben, during the course of an 8-week internship, mastered the arcane science of healthcare finance. I've been doing it for 20 years. I couldn't explain it to you if my life depended on it. He figured it out in 8 weeks. So when he decided to run for the state Senate and called me up, I said, if I can't support him, then who would I support? Because I've watched his career since the time I met him in the 90s and saw the experience that he developed over that period of time. A Harvard education, a Bolt Law School education. He was elevated and appointed a member of the student representative to the Board of Regents of the University of California. And that in and of itself is an experience. He went to work for a congressman in Washington who served on the Ways and Means Committee and was one of his senior policy aides. He worked for the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, which I've been affiliated with for many years, and served on the Latin American desk. This is an NGO that engages in democratization, election observation, and contrary to certain people who during the campaign actually asserted it is not a CIA front. I wouldn't be affiliated with a CIA front. And then he became a member of the Santa Monica Malibu School District Board at a time of great uncertainty and instability in the finances of schools. I don't think I recall a time when there wasn't instability in the finances of schools, but with the recession crashing down on all of us from the state down to the local level. Schools bore the principal brunt of that recession as it related to the public sector. And Ben figured it out. He's a progressive, like many of us, who believes in paying his bills, not like many of us. And it's important that budgets are balanced, because if you go bankrupt, you can't do anything. And Ben understood that, understands that, and certainly as he starts his career as a state legislator in the State Senate of California, that perspective will be welcome in the halls of the state capitol. There's an old saying that good judgment is usually the result of experience, and experience is frequently the result of bad judgment. Now, it doesn't say it has to be your bad judgment, Ben. Your experience can be based on the bad judgment that the rest of us have committed over the years. And I would encourage you, as you go forward, and I'm confident you will, learn from the lessons, learn from the mistakes that the rest of us have made. There is no law that says you have to repeat the prior generation's mistakes. You can learn from them and avoid them. And I think the leaders who do that will not have to wait till they're dead 10 years to be considered statesmen. You can be a statesman in your own lifetime if you follow that admonition. And I encourage you to do that, and I'm confident you will, because you're an evidence-based person. You are thoughtful. We all have heard that you are smart. I will attest to that. I've seen you close up. But more than smart, you also have good judgment. You listen to people. You don't just hear them, but you listen to them. You amalgamate, and sometimes it frustrates your friends. You listen too much, they say. You can never listen too much. Amalgamate all of what you hear from people on multiple sides of the same issue, and then come to your own independent judgment. And the one thing I have confidence among many others about you, Ben, is that you have the capability of exercising independent judgment. Which brings me, in conclusion, to another quote from Albert Camus, which I think is so appropriate for you. Because as I watched this campaign unfold in the last year, and when I analyzed the campaign results, which I have nothing else to do since December 1st, so I've just been poring over precinct results. First thing that caught my attention is that in my precinct, number 3181, you won by 67 to 33%. I just want you to know I delivered for you. But what was remarkable is there were two Democrats running in this election, and Ben was able to reach out to Democrats, independents, and Republicans, and he won among all three of those constituencies in this very complicated district of the 26th senatorial district. And that's a good sign, because if you can bring these constituencies together behind you, then I think we can be confident that you can bring senators of multiple points of view together behind common cause. We are all sick and tired of the exaggerated partisanship that has paralyzed government in Washington and Sacramento. And you can do something about it. So I conclude with this quote from Albert Camus. A man does not show his greatness by being at one extremity, but rather by touching both at once. And I think if there's anybody who's prepared for that challenge, it has Ben Allen. So it's my privilege now to call upon Ben to join me on stage, and the Honorable Holly E. Kendig, Judge of the Superior Court of Los Angeles County, who will administer the oath of office to Ben, to join each other on the stage. Come on up.
All right, we are now going to swear in Senator Ben Allen. Ben, please repeat after me. I, Ben Allen, do solemnly swear.
I, Ben Allen, do solemnly swear. Solemnly swear.
Solemnly swear.
Solidly too.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
Upon which I'm about to enter.
Upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you are a state senator. I'll get the Bible back to you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Holly Kendig, wonderful Holly Kendig, one of my best friend's moms growing up. She was the first female litigation partner at O'Melveny & Myers, and she's now serving the community on the bench. I just so really appreciate you honoring me today with this wonderful swearing-in ceremony. What an incredible evening. I'm a little embarrassed, to be honest. We wanted to have an opportunity to give the folks of this community the opportunity to celebrate and hear from some of the leaders of the community. And I just am so humbled by the turnout tonight. It's an extraordinary group of people. I see so many wonderful friends and family, and I'm very humbled to see everyone here. First of all, I want to just thank some of the incredible people from my staff who helped to put this event together. Lauren Pizer-Maines, Sam Lieu, Sam David, Jamie Renner. They really worked so hard to make this event a success. Obviously, the extraordinary people in this school district who helped organize the event, Annette Bolin, Catherine Baxter, Carrie Upton, obviously Joni and Jeff. You're going to see the performance of our Santa Monica High School students in a little bit. What an incredible set of performances tonight. The jazz combo. Oh my God. You know, my old scout troop, Rabbi Renner, thank you for your kind words. Those were wonderfully inspiring words. The Miracosta Vocal Ensemble, such beautiful music. The Gay Men's Chorus, of course. The Gay Men's Chorus just sang, the first song they sang, I don't know if anyone noticed, was I Love You, California, which is our official state song. That I've lived in this state for 36 years, and I've never heard that song live. So we made sure to bring it to you tonight. The state song of the state of California. The Hollywood Youth Orchestra, an inspiring, excellent orchestra, so fantastic. And then, of course, you'll be hearing after this from our Sam Ojai Masterworks Chorus and the Chamber Orchestra. Obviously, the beautiful, inspiring words and music that is testament to the extraordinary creativity that is so much at the heart of this wonderful metropolis of ours. Indeed, this evening's been a great celebration of our youth and of our arts. And it was just wonderful to see everyone. I also obviously want to thank the elected officials and the leaders who spoke for your kind words and your encouragement. A very special round of applause for our wonderful mistress of ceremonies, Autumn Burke. Autumn, of course, has such an extraordinary legacy of public service in her family, but she's also a really wonderful born leader in her own right, and I'm just so looking forward to working with you to serve the people of this community here. Obviously, Congressman Lieu, so exciting to have you in Washington, D.C., representing our communities. Fran Pavley, a great mentor and friend in the Senate, been such an extraordinary environmental leader. Mayor Garcetti, an extraordinary new leader who brings fresh energy to City Hall in Los Angeles, who's got an incredibly bright future ahead of him. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Our very, very capable treasurer, who I'm very disappointed to hear is not a constituent, Isidore. You've got one of the best men in Sacramento that you are serving. John Chiang is an extraordinary person. I was so honored to have him here today. And of course, Zev Yaroslavsky, who's just provided such exceptional leadership to the Los Angeles area over the last 40 years of extraordinary, exemplary service. Thank you so much for everything you've done for this community, Zev. I know we've got a lot of wonderful elected officials here today. I see Assemblymember Richard Bloom, our wonderful mayor, former mayor here from Santa Monica, who's also representing our community. Nice to see you, Richard. Thank you for being here. Assemblyman Ridley Thomas, I know, is here. Represents Westwood. We represent Westwood together. Assemblymember Ridley Thomas also serves as the Assembly's chair of the Elections and Constitutional Amendments Committee. So we're going to be doing a lot of good work together in the coming year. I know that Assemblymember Adrien Nazarian is here. We both represent Runyon Canyon together and the wonderful communities of Hollywood that these kids came from. So thank you for being here, Assemblymember Nazarian. I know Congresswoman Janice Hahn is here. I'm honored by your presence. Thank you for being here. Thank you. My colleague and senatorial neighbor, not only geographically, but also on the floor of the Senate, Isidore Hall, just elected our newest state senator. Some exemplary former legislators are here. Congressman Tony Bielenson, who wrote the bill that created the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area. He's here. Alan Soroti, who gave us our state fossil, the saber-toothed cat. Wonderful man, wonderful man. I know Steve Bradford's here, who actually was Autumn's immediate predecessor in the State Assembly. Thank you for being here, Steve. And then, of course, former Assemblymember Paul Koretz, who's now on the LA City Council, one of our wonderful leader. So that we've got so many local elected officials. I just love it if all of the local elected officials could stand, please, and just be recognized from all over this district. Mike Bonin, I see over here. I see Heidi Ashcraft, Santa Monica members. Our new mayor, Kevin McEwen. Hey, Amy. Nice to see you. Hani Svengari. Manhattan Beach, right there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so, so much. One of the great pleasures of this campaign was the opportunity to go around and meet with these extraordinary people who have stepped forward to serve their local communities. It's not an easy thing to do. And oftentimes we have such wonderful communities, but they're very active communities. And oftentimes the elected officials bear the brunt of that activity. And they're wonderful people. They're serving their communities, and I appreciate you being here and also your service. Of course, I have to thank my wonderful family here in the front. So grateful to you. I'm just so fortunate. I'm so fortunate to each and every one of you, and I'm very excited that Paloma will be performing tonight as part of the choral group. Or maybe not, who knows? I thought you were. We've got to work on communication in the family, I guess, but you know. All right, well, we'll be hearing from them. So anyway, she's a member of the chorus and an incredible singer, and you'll have the opportunity to hear her someday. Obviously, my biggest thanks goes to all of you here tonight. You were the people who were there with me every step of the way during the campaign for supporting me. We had an incredible grassroots movement all over this extraordinary district that borders Studio City, and it goes all the way down to the Palos Verdes Peninsula and on to Santa Catalina Island and San Clemente Islands. It was a lot of work getting around this district, and it's the people in this room that really pushed me over the edge, gave me the inspiration, gave me the support and the love, and I'm just incredibly grateful to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Now, you know, running for office is just a very special experience. You meet so many people, you learn so much. You've got all these great, wonderful, different experiences. And of course, you make yourself open to scrutiny, both in terms of your policy positions, every single thing you say, and then of course, your appearance. Now, one of the great controversies of this campaign was the critical question of my facial hair. Now, it's a controversy that produced perhaps the best letter that we received through the course of the entire campaign. And now, of course, part of the process of running for office is unfortunately involves pummeling the poor, unsuspecting voters with mail. Now, all of you suffered through this. The environmentalist in me, of course, hates it. But I do continue to be convinced, but still in this day and age, that it's a critical way to engage with voters, especially in a low turnout election. But I think that'll start to change over time. But after receiving the umpteenth piece of mail extolling my purported virtues, a constituent sent us the following letter with no address or return name. Now it starts out, here it is. Yes, I'll get my 2 bridge groups to vote for you. Ladies 115. Now, if you just shaved your face, I think you would be a very handsome man. Whomever started this fad should be buried in dirt. Yuck. You all look dirty, bugs crawling around. I'll look for the new you. Good luck, Ben Allen. So now that the campaign is over, if you do have strong opinions about this vital existential question, I know that Jamie and Sam will be distributing comment cards in the back. And of course, if you're the person who sent me this letter and you're here today, please make sure to introduce yourself. Now, there are a lot of people in this room tonight who actually remember me when I was altogether without facial hair. Many of them watched me grow up through this wonderful school district. And it's a district that's run by an extraordinary team of educators. And I just want to thank the district and its leadership, my school board colleagues. So many of you are here tonight. Thank you. The administration, and our incredible teachers and staff who inspired me every step of the way when I was a kid, and I know are continuing to inspire the next generation of our young people. I'm just so grateful to you and everything you've done to make this school district so wonderful, and all the educators who are here tonight who work so hard to help our young people. A big round of applause to them. You taught me so much, not only as a student, but as a school board member. So this is the district where I grew up. This is, in fact, the very stage where I asked my fellow students for their support when I was running for the student government. And I know Greg Moreno. I was the student body president. My vice president is here in the audience. There you go. This is also, thank you, Greg. This is also the stage where I acted in the musical Peter Pan. I played the villainous Captain Hook, which is a role that I will continue to play in the state legislature. And so it's particularly poignant to celebrate this event today right here in this high school auditorium that I know and love so well, Barnum Hall. This Works Progress Administration building that is a gorgeous and lasting legacy to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's sustained and deep commitment to public investment in American jobs, arts and creativity, human ingenuity. It's President Roosevelt's investment in a bright, hopeful future that stretched out far beyond the deprivations and the storm clouds of the Great Depression. And of course, President Roosevelt charted out a course of investment in infrastructure, in education, in social uplift, leaving a physical legacy while also laying down the early seeds that eventually blossomed into the civil rights movement that we celebrate this very special Martin Luther King Day weekend. President Roosevelt and Dr. King inspired us to dream of grand visions for America and asked us to dig deep and come together to solve social ills, create a more just and equitable society, and bring us closer to Dr. King's vision of a beloved community. And when you go back and you look at their speeches, you can't help but be struck by how timely some of their message, some of their calls to action still ring true today. They certainly galvanize me as I step into this new role, because we do have so much work ahead. As has been mentioned, I'm so honored to have been selected by the President Pro Tem as chair of our Senate Committee on Elections and Constitutional Amendments. And I really do hope to look for new ways to boost voter turnout and engage our populace more deeply in the civic process. Now, we all know there was terrible voter turnout here, but what's interesting about this is that while voter turnout around the state was generally low, voter turnout in Los Angeles County was a disaster, a full 11 points below the statewide average. In fact, here's an interesting juxtaposition for you. On the exact same election day, November 4th of last year, with the same ballot, the same propositions, the same choices, the voters of Sierra County, up in the mountains, had a 73% voter turnout. Shockingly, LA County was at 31% that very same day. Now, it turns out that some of the biggest discernible differences lie in the robustness of Sierra County's vote-by-mail program, something that really merits greater examination here. We're also going to look at ways we may free up legal barriers currently preventing voters in localities to greenlight deeper investments in education and transit, if that's what they want to do. We're going to look at campaign finance reform questions. Some of the things I'd like to work on, I really do want to give school boards greater control over vaccination policies so they can take further action to protect their community's children. I want to create a pipeline to encourage more of our best and brightest to go into teaching. I want to help bring more support to Los Angeles' growing but still grotesquely inadequate transportation system. And of course, support efforts to purchase, preserve, and protect open spaces here locally. Now, of course, more broadly, yes, very open space. We have such a myriad of challenges before us at the state level, an educational system struggling to evolve and respond to the challenges of a changing world, the long-term fiscal, financial viability of our state's budget and our state's economy, a devastating drought and the concomitant water challenges, a changing global marketplace and the need to continue to stoke commercial innovation, economic ingenuity, and vitality, rewarding high-quality job creation and removing unnecessary barriers that block innovation, persistent and growing environmental challenges, but also opportunities as California leads the way to a new, greener economy powered by more renewable energy sources, a transportation crisis here in Los Angeles, and of course the persistent challenge presented by deprivation here in California, particularly in the wake of the recent recession, which has left a quarter of our state, 1 in 4 of our fellow Californians, at or below the poverty line. Now, my colleague on the school board, Jose Escarce, actually studies poverty and health outcomes. He's a very good man. He's got a very serious commitment to public policy and public service. And he was very much involved with my original decision to run for the school board. He wrote me the very day after the election, and he recommended that I read this New York Times article written by Thomas Friedman that basically said, in Dr. Escarce's paraphrase, that it should be about doing difficult things when you govern. And he wrote to me, I hope you go to Sacramento to try to do difficult things. And that's, of course, what the work should be about. That's the only thing that would make the madness of living in 2 cities, flying back and forth between Sacramento and Los Angeles, constantly packing and unpacking, relentless meetings and hearings. The only thing that would make all that worth it would be to do meaningful, difficult work on behalf of the state of California and the people of this extraordinary Senate district. It's challenging, it's fulfilling, it's meaningful, it's exciting work, but it's difficult work, and I ask for your help. Those of you who helped to bring me here to this moment, I ask for your help as we seek to address these great challenges. Help me and the other leaders who have spoken today, the other leaders who we've just recognized and who are in attendance today, to do the difficult things, to give us the space and the encouragement that we need, but also to inspire us as to the fierce urgency, to give us the courage to pursue those policies that will bring us ever closer to Dr. King's vision of a truly beloved community. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for your love and your support. I'm going to work incredibly hard to make you proud. Now let's go celebrate. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.